Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The Miami Dolphins are entering the 2025 season with eyes firmly fixed on their early opponents, and the latest news surrounding these teams could have a major impact on their opening stretch. Week 1 in Indianapolis is shaping up to be more intriguing after the Colts made a definitive quarterback decision, naming Daniel Jones as their starter against the Dolphins. This decision puts an end to the off-season-long debate between Jones and Anthony Richardson, a battle that had many fans debating the Colts' offensive outlook. Richardson, despite his dynamic rushing ability, struggled with accuracy last season and will now serve as the backup. Dolphins fans will remember how Richardson tormented their defense in a previous matchup, running effectively while exposing weaknesses in coverage, even if his passing was inconsistent. Meanwhile, Jones offers a more conventional and safer presence under center, though questions about his ability to challenge a top-tier defense remain. Miami's offensive unit will need to execute precisely to exploit any vulnerabilities. Daniel Jones' performance history provides a mixed bag of potential outcomes for the Dolphins in Week 1. In their prior meeting at Hard Rock Stadium in 2023, Jones displayed efficiency in short passes but struggled under pressure, resulting in 6 sacks and ultimately exiting in the fourth quarter for Tyrod Taylor. That game highlighted both his strengths and limitations, showcasing that while he could manage the game, his lack of explosive passing threats and mobility made him susceptible to a disciplined defensive front. Dolphins coaching staff will have detailed film from that matchup, giving them a roadmap for disrupting the Colts' game plan early. The key for Miami will be creating consistent pressure and forcing quick decisions, which could expose Jones' tendencies to settle into a predictable rhythm. While the media narrative positions him as safe and consistent, his past performances with the Giants reveal a quarterback who is far from flawless, offering the Dolphins potential strategic advantages if they execute efficiently and stay disciplined in coverage assignments. The Dolphins' Week 7 showdown against the Cleveland Browns will come at a different pace, as the quarterback situation in Cleveland has settled on veteran Joe Flacco. Despite off-season speculation surrounding Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel, the Browns are leaning on experience to guide their offense early in the season. Flacco, who had flashes of competence late last year with Cleveland but struggled during his stint with Indianapolis, presents a unique challenge. Miami's defense must be prepared to adjust to his pocket passing style, while also accounting for the potential spark from Sanders or Gabriel if they are inserted later in the season. Flacco's presence can allow the Dolphins to study tendencies in predictable offensive schemes, but they cannot underestimate the veteran's ability to capitalize on mistakes. Additionally, Kenny Pickett's recovery from injury remains a variable, as he could become a factor in later matchups. Strategically, Miami's preparation will need to remain fluid to accommodate any sudden changes. Buffalo presents another intriguing early test for the Dolphins, particularly given the Week 3 primetime matchup that offers an immediate gauge of Miami's competitiveness against the defending division champions. One of the major storylines from Buffalo is the ongoing uncertainty in their safety room. Head coach Sean McDermott has publicly acknowledged the search for a complementary safety alongside Taylor Rapp, highlighting the potential for instability in the backfield. Second-year player Cole Bishop and veteran Damar Hamlin will likely rotate in coverage responsibilities, but neither has proven consistently dominant. Bishop's limited experience and injury history, combined with Hamlin's past struggles as a starter, create exploitable weaknesses for Miami. For a Dolphins team that relies on Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle to stretch defenses, this secondary uncertainty could be a key factor in generating big plays. The Dolphins' offensive coaching staff will likely design schemes to attack mismatches, targeting the less reliable options in the Bills' safety rotation. The Dolphins' strategy against the Bills will involve leveraging their elite receiving core to stretch the field and challenge a secondary that remains a work in progress. Taylor Rapp's role as a box safety will shift the coverage responsibility to Bishop, Hamlin, or potentially a late-season addition, making their Week 3 performance crucial. Miami can anticipate how Buffalo will attempt to limit deep routes, particularly targeting Hill and Waddle's ability to create separation in one-on-one situations. Quarterback play will also be critical, as the Dolphins must balance aggressive passing with careful risk management, exploiting gaps in zone coverage, and pressuring linebackers to vacate intermediate zones. The outcome of this matchup may hinge less on raw scoring potential and more on Miami's ability to read defensive rotations and execute precision passing sequences. For Dolphins fans, this represents both an opportunity and a measuring stick for their team's readiness in high-stakes scenarios. Meanwhile, roster moves by the Dolphins have signaled a clear intent to bolster their defensive front and secondary ahead of these challenging matchups. Signing linebacker Matt Judon and cornerback Cameron Dantzler Sr. provides immediate upgrades in experience, pass rush capability, and coverage depth. Judon, a 33-year-old veteran with a productive history, offers both leadership and on-field explosiveness, recording notable tackles, sacks, and defensive touchdowns in prior seasons. Dantzler's presence complements an already talented secondary, adding flexibility against diverse offensive schemes. Conversely, Miami waived wide receiver Tarek Black and punter Ryan Stonehouse, signaling a shift in priorities toward fortifying positions that directly impact defensive efficiency. These moves suggest a proactive approach in preparation for early tests against the Colts, Bills, and Browns. By shoring up weaknesses and adding experienced playmakers, the Dolphins aim to improve situational execution and create favorable matchups across the board. Judon's career trajectory offers valuable insight into what the Dolphins are integrating into their system. Originally a fifth-round pick by the Ravens, Judon has consistently demonstrated disruptive potential both against the run and through the pass rush. His 2024 season with the Falcons, featuring over 40 tackles, multiple sacks, and an interception returned for a touchdown, underscores his continued relevance as a game-changer at the linebacker position. Miami's defensive schemes can now incorporate Judon in both blitz packages and coverage rotations, increasing versatility against quarterbacks like Daniel Jones and Joe Flacco. Dantzler complements this approach by adding coverage depth, allowing the Dolphins to better manage versatile receiving threats while maintaining flexibility in defensive formations. Together, these acquisitions suggest Miami is aligning personnel with strategic goals for the early season schedule. The Dolphins' preparation for Week 1 against Indianapolis will involve studying Jones' tendencies, managing Richardson's potential mobility threat, and designing pressure schemes that force mistakes. Defensive coordinators will need to balance containment of Richardson's rushing ability with disruption of Jones' passing rhythm. Offensively, the Dolphins must anticipate a defense that previously capitalized on turnovers and failed fourth-down conversions, aiming to minimize errors while exploiting mismatches created by personnel advantages. Special teams and situational plays will also play a critical role, as field position can dictate momentum in a game expected to be competitive. Execution on all levels will determine whether Miami can seize the advantage in an opening week matchup that sets the tone for the season ahead. Looking toward Cleveland in Week 7, the Dolphins will face a quarterback situation that remains fluid despite the selection of Flacco as the starter. Preparation will require careful scouting of all potential passers, as each brings distinct tendencies, decision-making patterns, and athletic capabilities. Miami must design defensive game plans adaptable enough to counter sudden substitutions or mid-game adjustments, particularly from emerging talents like Sanders, Gabriel, or an eventual healthy Pickett. The team's ability to study tendencies, leverage film analysis, and anticipate reads will be essential for maintaining control. This dynamic quarterback scenario emphasizes the necessity for a defensive unit capable of adjusting to multiple styles of play while maintaining discipline in coverage and pressure schemes throughout the contest. As Miami progresses through the early season, exploiting the Bills' secondary, managing quarterback matchups, and integrating new defensive talent will be pivotal to success. Attention to detail, precise execution, and strategic adaptation will define the Dolphins' ability to capitalize on opponent weaknesses. Whether it's pressuring Jones in Week 1, managing Flacco in Week 7, or attacking Buffalo's vulnerable safety room in Week 3, Miami's preparation and personnel decisions reflect a team ready to compete at a high level. For fans, these narratives offer insight into the strategic chess match unfolding over the next several weeks, illustrating how opponent news, roster changes, and positional battles collectively shape the Dolphins' season trajectory. Vigilance, execution, and adaptability will be central to achieving consistent success against these divisional and non-divisional adversaries. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Finns this week? The sports world woke up today buzzing with one of the wildest rumors to surface in recent memory, and it involves the Miami Dolphins making a shocking move that nobody could have predicted. According to several insiders who claim to be close to the situation, the Dolphins have reportedly closed a blockbuster deal to acquire none other than Dillon Gabriel, the dynamic quarterback who made a name for himself in college football with his quick release, fearless decision-making, and uncanny ability to keep plays alive. What makes this rumor even crazier is the fact that Gabriel hasn't yet played a snap in the NFL, but the Dolphins are supposedly so impressed by his potential that they were willing to pull the trigger on a deal that could reshape the franchise. It's the kind of buzz that has fans, analysts, and rival teams all questioning what's really happening in Miami. If this deal is true, it marks one of the boldest gambles in recent NFL history, a move that screams desperation but also ambition from a front office determined to win now and carve out a new identity. The Dolphins already have a roster that many consider playoff-ready, with explosive wide receivers, a strong backfield rotation, and a defense that has the capability to dominate when fully healthy. But what they've been missing, at least in the eyes of their critics, is a quarterback who can elevate the offense to championship level. Tua Tagovailoa has had flashes of brilliance, but durability and consistency have always hovered like a cloud over his tenure. Gabriel, with his fresh legs and fearless arm, might be viewed as the ultimate insurance policy, or even a potential successor. Whether he can handle the leap from college stardom to NFL pressure is another story altogether, but the Dolphins clearly believe in his ceiling. The whispers making their way through the league suggest that Miami didn't just stumble into this deal overnight. They've been monitoring Gabriel for months, tracking his development, his leadership qualities, and even his off-field habits. Executives reportedly fell in love with his charisma and his willingness to take control of a huddle, qualities that some scouts say are reminiscent of younger versions of legends who once changed franchises. What's shocking is the sheer aggressiveness of the Dolphins' approach. This isn't the kind of move you usually see unless a team is absolutely convinced it's found a future cornerstone. Fans are divided. Some see Gabriel as a risk worth taking, a bold swing at greatness in a league where fortune favors the brave, while others call it reckless, saying the Dolphins could be jeopardizing their present stability by betting on unproven talent in the most demanding position in sports. And let's not ignore the wider implications this rumor carries for the NFL as a whole. If Dillon Gabriel indeed lands in Miami, it creates a ripple effect that could alter the quarterback market dramatically. Think about the number of teams that might have been targeting him through the draft or free agency routes, only to see the Dolphins swoop in with a shocking trade that nobody saw coming. Other franchises could be forced to pivot quickly, reassessing their strategies and scrambling to identify alternative options. The AFC East, already one of the most competitive divisions in football, suddenly becomes even more unpredictable, with the Dolphins potentially adding a fresh weapon to their arsenal while their rivals, the Bills, Jets, and Patriots, look on in disbelief. It raises the question, did Miami just outmaneuver everyone else, or did they just step into a trap they'll regret? What adds more intrigue is the reported cost of this deal. Sources hint that the Dolphins might have parted with a package of high draft picks, possibly even a future first-rounder, along with young talent already on the roster. That's not a price you pay lightly, especially for a player who still has everything to prove at the professional level. Critics are already sharpening their knives, arguing that Miami could have secured a proven veteran with that kind of capital, someone with a track record in the league. But perhaps that's where the Dolphins are showing their cards. They don't want proven, they want potential. They want the chance to mold the future face of the franchise their way. It's a risk that could either catapult them into years of dominance or haunt them with endless what-ifs. In sports, those margins are razor thin, and Miami seems to be embracing the gamble. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel himself has remained silent, at least publicly. No official statements have been released, and his camp hasn't confirmed or denied the swirling rumors. That silence only fuels the speculation, with fans dissecting his every social media post, every like, every comment, searching for clues. It's classic modern sports drama. an athlete at the center of a firestorm, and yet completely quiet, allowing the noise to grow louder by the hour. Some insiders claim Gabriel is excited about the idea of landing in Miami, envisioning himself throwing bombs under the bright lights with Tyreek Hill streaking downfield. Others whisper that he's apprehensive, aware of the immense pressure that comes with being handed the keys to a team that expects to win right away. Either way, the uncertainty adds to the spectacle, making this one of the most captivating rumors in football. From a fan perspective, the reaction has been nothing short of electric. Social media exploded as soon as whispers of the deal leaked, with hashtags trending across multiple platforms. Dolphins supporters are split right down the middle. Half are celebrating the move as the dawn of a new era, praising the front office for refusing to settle for mediocrity. The other half are furious, arguing that Miami is gambling away its future on a player who might never adjust to the brutal speed and complexity of NFL defenses. Rival fans, of course, are having a field day, mocking the Dolphins for what they see as yet another desperate attempt to stay relevant in a division dominated by Josh Allen and a resurgent Jets team. No matter which side you're on, there's no denying the entertainment value this rumor has brought to the entire league. Analysts on television and radio are equally divided, with some calling it a stroke of genius and others labeling it a disaster waiting to happen. The comparisons are already flying, with Gabriel being likened to past college stars who either soared to greatness or fizzled out under the weight of expectation. Names like Patrick Mahomes and Johnny Manziel are being thrown around, illustrating the wide range of possible outcomes. Some experts argue that Gabriel's accuracy and decision-making could translate beautifully to Miami's offensive scheme, especially with weapons like Jalen Waddle and Hill ready to stretch the field. Others caution that the leap in defensive complexity from college to the NFL could expose him quickly, and that the Dolphins might have sacrificed far too much for a long shot. The truth, as always, will only be revealed once the games are played, but the debate is already fiery. The timing of this move adds another layer of mystery. Why now? Why make such a bold trade when training camps and preseason are still unfolding, and when so many unknowns remain? Some believe the Dolphins' front office wanted to send a message not only to their fanbase, but also to their rivals, that they refuse to sit idly by while others dictate the narrative. By swinging for Gabriel, they're planting a flag in the ground, declaring their intent to be disruptive and fearless. Others, however, suggest the timing reeks of panic, a reaction to ongoing questions about Tua's long-term health and durability. Whatever the motivation, the Dolphins have ensured that all eyes will be on Miami for the foreseeable future, and that alone changes the energy around the team in dramatic fashion. At the end of the day, whether this rumor proves true or fizzles out as just another off-season headline, the conversation it has sparked is a testament to the power of speculation in sports. The idea of Dillon Gabriel in a Dolphins uniform has captured imaginations, ignited debates, and stirred emotions in ways few stories can. It represents everything fans love and fear about their teams: the thrill of chasing greatness, the dread of making a catastrophic mistake, and the roller coaster of uncertainty that comes with bold moves. If Miami really has closed this blockbuster deal, they've bet their future on a quarterback who embodies both promise and risk. And if the deal turns out to be smoke and mirrors, then the Dolphins have at least reminded us that in this league, rumors can sometimes be just as entertaining as reality. For now, the football world waits, breathless, to see how this story unfolds. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.